JPB has retired from Speedway. I think Ben Barker and Riot House have made a mutually agreed split. I'll get that right one day. And all of this without a wheel being turned. Only in Speedway. Everybody, how are we doing, Matt?
No, not too bad,
how
thank
you. How are we doing, Webby?
Good evening.
How are we doing, clock in the chair over me? What, there's a clock in the chair next to me. Why is there a clock in the chair next to me?
TikTok.
Are you trying to stop me from talking too much, is that?
It's good I can't hear you.
Eh?
I can't hear.
Okay.
Right.
I can talk about him. Right, so on tonight's show, well, we've got Mr. Laurence Rogers. Have I got that right?
You have.
I have difficulty with his name. I don't know why. He's coming on the show.
Don't say that when he's on the phone.
No. I called him Lauren earlier. Yeah, he's coming on the show at 1:15 ish. So get your questions on the shout box for Laurence. I need some help tonight when he comes on. We'd also like a new little sort of feature that I've just this second thought of. We'd like your predictions for the coming matches of your particular team, because we do a lot of predictions about Birmingham and Wolverhampton, and sometimes we even talk about Cradley if we're in a good mood.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a red card.
Thank you very much for that. So yeah, we're going to have. We'd like to have your predictions for your teams. We'd also love to hear your predictions as well tonight on who's going to win the Grand Prix this year. Who's going to be the world champion? That would be.
We both said Jason Doyle, haven't we? So
We both said to Jason Doyle. So don't choose Jason Doyle because that will obviously be wrong. We're going to be starting. Hopefully next week we're going to be starting at new competition time.
Yep.
So we will have 3 questions for you on a different Speedway topic each week. We will have a dedicated email for you and a dedicated text for you to put your answers in.
Oh, okay.
I've just made it. I'm making it up as I go along. That's why.
Okay. Give me plenty of notes.
For you to put your answers, and there'll be a prize for whoever answers first.
Oh. Right, okay.
And you're now going to tell us what the prize will be? No,
my mortgage.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
No, we're going to be doing some T-shirts and things like that.
Oh, yes, we've got some T-shirts lined up, yeah.
So with, I think, I'm going to throw this at you now.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're going to be the one that's doing that. I think we'll be able to do Speedway Tavern T-shirts and sports radio.
Anything you want.
But also we'll probably put, if they let us know which team they support, we'll put the symbol of their team on as well.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So there you go.
Okay. Before we start, can I just say a quick hello to people listening. Anders Carlberg, probably the best hello in the world, he says. Susan Jordan, Wendy Jane Barnett, Brian Ricketts, Stefan Ornadal, I hope I said that right. Leon Flint, Sharon James, and she says, where is this tavern? Well, it's here. And Leon Flint, who says Birmingham champions, end of story.
Well, he would know.
Exactly.
Given that he was riding at number 7 for us this year.
Exactly.
Nice to have you on, Leon. Ring in if you want to, mate. Although, from what I heard yesterday, if he does, we're not going to get a word in edgeways. But,
oh, right, okay.
That's what I was told, anyway. So, okay. We're also looking at the Bellevue versus. There's a Speedway match on.
There is a racing on tonight, yes.
Bellevue versus Swindon, second leg. Bellevue took the first leg by 6 points, so it's finely balanced. What's the scores now?
Swindon 10, Bellevue 8 after 3 races.
So that's 4 points in it after
right.
3 races.
Mitchell Davey has been in a 5-1 in the first hit with Zach Votnick over Dan Bewley.
A sort of brummified one.
That's
then.
right. Although Dan Bewley was on a handicap because he tossed the tapes in the first run
Oh,
of
you
the
had
race.
to spoil it, didn't you?
I had to spoil it, yeah. I thought.
Oh, sorry, and somebody called Gabby Cabby Arse or something. He says hello from Birmingham. I don't know who he is.
No, well, we'll just ignore him. Hopefully he'll go away.
Yeah, he'll go away if you ignore me.
Okay, so matches in the coming week. Wolverhampton, have you got anything coming up? This
No,
got press and
starts-
practice again, isn't
Well,
it?
the press and practice obviously starts on Monday, 6 o'clock. I think it
Mhm.
starts, or 6:30. So that's obviously delayed from last week because of the weather. So first chance to have a look at the 2018 Wolves Riders in action. It usually gets a decent following the practice. I mean, fair to say, practice is not really about watching the racing; it's about catching up with your mates that you haven't seen over the winter. So
Yes, yeah.
and
It is difficult to judge on press and practice, isn't it? Because I mean, you was at the Birmingham press and practice yesterday, and everybody that I've spoken to about it has raved about Leon Flint. That it really looked.
yeah, see, of the unattached riders, I think it's fair to say he looked the one that is probably in the box seat to get that last spot. In the
Well,
team,
he is our number 7.
in the number 7.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Wake up.
I'll go out. I'll come back in again. So.
I think you might. If he's listening, he's probably worried now that
Yeah, he
you've
probably
said
is. Yeah. Sorry, Liam.
that. Yeah, you was thinking about Aaron Butcher.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Which we'll ask Laurence Rogers about.
Mhm.
Lawrence Rogers about.
Yes, you did it again there.
I did.
so.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to think of. I'm gonna call him Lol. Oh, dear, it's terrible. It's terrible. So yeah, what I was saying is it is difficult. You get an idea of who's looking really good, but until there's 4 other riders on the track, or 3 other riders on the track with it, you don't really know what they're gonna. You can't tell, can you, from practice, really?
No, you can't. You can get a good sort of idea, I think.
You can get the idea that like, for instance, Leon
Yeah.
Flint has got enough speed.
Yeah.
Um,
It's always, I think it's useful as well when you've got new riders in the team, maybe to put them both out on the track at the same time to see how they race.
They race
To get whether if you're thinking about using them as a pairing, sort of a 3 and 4 pairing, you
which I
don't.
understand they did a little bit of that.
Yeah, you don't really want to be picking 2 riders that ride the same piece of the track because you're going to be having problems all the way through.
No,
the,
you wouldn't want
the
Thomas
races.
Peach and Tom Perrott
No,
paired up, for instance.
no, you wouldn't, sir.
Yeah. That's something that would ever happen. Okay, so let's look forward to next week then. So
Yeah.
we've got Coventry versus Birmingham. This is where we want you guys to bring in with your predictions of what's going to be happening.
Mhm.
Your team, your club, whichever division it might be in. Birmingham versus Coventry.
Mine's
next.
JPB, of course.
Yeah, we ought
to talk about that, yeah.
We ought to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a strange one, I think. I think
We've had 5 vibes with JPB over the course of the winter, haven't we? But I mean, I think he was probably disappointed that he wasn't kept on at Birmingham.
Well, he said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's
But
looking a good decision. At the
Obviously, they
moment.
just couldn't come to an agreement. So,
Yeah.
I know. I mean, there are things going on in his private life. Of course, he's got a young family now, so
yeah.
maybe there's going to be other priorities in his life.
What
for
was
the next-
strange to me was that he'd just been in the Speedway Star, had a whole piece on him, and a really, really positive
Yeah,
piece. And then all of a sudden, on the eve of the season,
he disappears.
he's retired, and it's just a strange one, isn't it? I mean, he's a talent.
I hope it's not the end for him because he's definitely got.
Yeah, he's a
He's
talent.
definitely got the
Yeah.
talent to be able to.
Speed. We haven't got enough of
No.
those in this country to.
Yeah, it's a common trend though, isn't it? You get some of these fantastic young English riders who
They
come
come in
in and
that
then they just.
It seems to be it seems to be becoming that way.
I mean, have a look at Joe Haynes. I mean, he won the British Under-21 Championship twice and retired within a few years. So,
That's-
it's a shame we don't really. We need to start supporting some of these young British riders a bit more than we do, and giving them a chance like they do in other countries.
that might be something that we'll talk to Laurence
Yeah.
Rogers about, actually. if somebody reminds me.
Yes.
So, okay, and on the same sort of subject, well, we'll come back to the prediction in a minute, but on the same sort of subject, Ben Barker rode for Rye House last year, signed fairly quickly this year, and then all of a sudden there's a mutual termination. No real explanation. That was another weird one, I thought.
It is a little bit, yeah. It's, he's ridden for quite a few clubs, to be fair, Ben, so I don't know whether there's been a falling out, whether it's Ben's own choice or whether it's... probably more coming out about that in the next few weeks, I would imagine, but it did seem a little bit bizarre.
It was, yeah,
to be
on
honest.
the eve of the season that
yeah,
way.
and it's Aaron Summers, I think,
Aaron Summers has
yeah,
replaced him.
which I think probably weakens Rye FC more than...
Possibly.
I think Ben Barker would be in a better option than Aaron Summers, to be fair, but...
It's a strange one again.
Another English rider, sort of, well, not out in the cold because he's riding in the championship as well. So, but
be interesting to know what was going. Yes.
Just to let you know, Anders Karlberg is chairman of the Vangana Club, Daniel Bue's Swedish team.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
nice to have you aboard, Stefan. So, how about you giving us some predictions? It's a while before this.
Yeah, it is well. May, I think. May, I think it's.
Yeah,
might be mid-May. So.
And Leon Flint says, wait for the 250 riders to come through.
Wait for all the 250 riders.
The 250cc.
Oh, the 250cc.
250cc,
Well,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I think the problem is that I think we have got the talent there. We've shown that over the last few years. Leon himself, Zach Vitanek, Jack Smith, JPB. But there seems to be a moment when we lose some of these people. Maybe that's the same in all sports. I don't know.
Seems to be a bit of a ebb and flow, doesn't it? Because you get them coming from different areas. Some you had a phase where they came from motocross. I mean, for many riders came from the grass track scene, but the grass track scene, obviously, with I think the foot and mouth
epidemic. Which is where Aaron Butcher's come from.
I think the foot and mouth epidemic 15, 16 years ago was what did a lot of damage to the grass track scene. Because of a lot of meetings being called, because a lot of meetings being called off because of there being exclusion zones. So, Joe Screen came through from the grass track. Andy Smith came through from the grass track as well. So, yeah, it's that's a strange one, to be honest. But it would.
Do we support our young riders enough?
No, we don't.
I think that's the problem is you've got a rider like JPB who has, as we have said, is an extreme talent.
Yeah.
But his parents, I don't know exactly the situation with his parents, but one thing that I do know is, because he said so in the Speedway Star, is that they're not well off, shall we say, so that it's difficult for them to support their son.
Yeah.
Particularly now he's got a family to support as well.
That's right. So.
Whereas in other sports, that tends to, the sport itself tends to be the one that supports people coming up through grassroots.
Well, at the end of the day, there isn't the big money in the sport now that there's in other sports, unfortunately. So a lot of times these riders are left to defend for themselves a little bit. You go.
It feels that way looking from the outside.
I mean, you go to Denmark and Poland, they support their young riders and they give them opportunities there, which are much more wide ranging than what we do in this country.
So, I'm aware. We need to continue this conversation.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see whether this proposed rebranding of the Speedway of the Great Britain team has any impact. To be honest, so. Because obviously they are,
but that's more for people. The higher level.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see that if it did sort of filter down to the grassroots area.
Yeah, I know. Thoughts on JPB not riding for Glasgow this year, says Richard Hill.
Well, I think we sort of covered that. I mean, it feels a bit weird.
Yeah,
we both feel that there's things that.
I mean, at the end of last season, I thought this year would probably be a good year for him to maybe kick on and establish himself as a good championship rider. As I say, hopefully he's not lost to the sport because he's a great talent. But
if he's got issues going on away from the sport, then at the end of the day, they're more important. And
Well,
of course, it's
absolutely.
nothing to do with us. We're not privy to
Yeah, I
what
mean,
things
we
that
don't,
are
we
going
don't
on.
know
So
what's going on, and why should we?
No.
I think is I guess is the bottom line with that. Phil Alkin says, I think the main problem for the young British rider is the cost of bikes and equipment compared to the wages of the National League riders struggle to make it pay. I don't necessarily agree with that. When you look at the cost of speedway bikes compared to, say, motocross bikes or other forms of motorsport, I think that particularly motocross, where they don't very often get paid for riding.
Well, that's it. It's more voluntary, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
So just
it's. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that. But what does happen is the big anomaly, of course, is that speedway riders are self-employed and not. They haven't got. They're. I mean, you've got Birmingham Brummies, and they're all part of a team, but actually, they're not at the same time. They're not in the same way. The way a footballer is part of a team, and then you're brought in, and then everything's done for you, and that doesn't happen in speedway.
There's a couple of comments there. If you want to read those, and I'll get there.
Yeah, we've been going through them.
You got through that.
Well, Paul Lavender says it here. The root of the problem is money. You need more than a couple of bikes, engines, etc. It's the structure of speedway, isn't it? It's the way it's structured, but never. As I understand it wasn't always like that. Back in the 30s and 40s, you would be paid by the. I don't think you was self-employed in the same way as you are. So, but we're a poor sport all the way up and down. That's the problem.
I know a lot of people have always said that the progress, the sort of progress with machinery and investment that the Danes made back in the 80s when they were dominating the sport was sort of not helped in that sense, and other countries being more getting sponsorship in and being more professional.
I mean, it does seem to be improving.
Yeah,
and we have. I mean, it's like Leon was talking about the 250cc lads that are coming through. That's something that's been happening within the sport. So it does seem to be improving. But my God, it needed to.
Without doubt, there's more now than there were 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
and I think the fast track system has helped.
Yeah, I
kick
agree
on that. To be honest,
I do agree with that. I think that as far as it went was advantageous.
Yes.
So I guess we both feel then that things could be better, but they could be worse.
Well, that's it. So
there we go.
We've still got a sport to look forward to at the end of the day.
Well, I do believe. Are we ready? Yeah, we have got Laurence
your
Rogers on the phone. Are you there, Laurence?
I am here.
Fantastic.
Hi,
Now,
Laurence.
first of all, I have to apologise. I'm really finding it difficult to get my tongue around your name. So if I call you Lauren at any time, I apologise now.
I'm definitely not a Lauren.
No, I understand. I do apologise.
Don't worry.
So anyway, press and practice yesterday. Was you encouraged by what you saw?
Very much, yes. I think, all the boys had good sessions there. I tried to structure it so they were out on a regular basis and everyone had plenty of rides. They got plenty of lap time. I base it really on what the GP boys do for the practice for the GPs and for the World Team Cup, where they only get 2 minutes. I gave them 2.5 minutes, and they used as much of that time as they could, then came back in the pits and worked on it. And I think all of them looked very good.
Was there any particular surprises for you in what you saw?
Leon, to be honest. Some of the stuff he was doing, for a 15-year-old kid, was amazing. Yeah, he got very wide on the first and second bends, not as wide as Liam Carr, I understand, but nearly. There must be something about the Berwick boys from that. But he tried different lines, and when he came out with Mitch, their team riding for 3 laps was unbelievable. And it all goes well for the future. Lane, after very tight in his first one, we had a little chat, loosened up, and he was looking good. Callum got himself into the groove of it. Daniel frightened me a couple of times with some of his wheelies, but and Tom was looking good and was very fortunate when he had the chain snap.
We've got lots of things happening on our shout box as well, so I shall be interspersing some questions from those as we go on, if that's okay. And Alan Hodgkinson says, "Hi from Lincolnshire. Can't wait to hear my old friend Laurence."
Oh, hello, Alan.
And apparently you've been called worse than Lauren.
Very much so, yes. But, we don't want to go into that.
do I say what, Leo? This is a young lad by Leon Flint, who you might know, has come on the shout box, and he said he's only Lauren at the weekend.
So. He's in trouble already.
We know who the first team judge is going to be now, don't we?
That's the first fine of the season.
He's such a character, I must admit. At the team meal last night was hilarious, put it that way.
Well, they're the sort of riders you want in the team, aren't they, Laurence? People who can make the pits a bubbly place. So
He probably can't hear you.
Yeah, right. So, just don't think he can hear you, Matt. So, Matt's just said to you that those are the sort of riders that you want, though, aren't they? That can make the place into a sort of bubbly place.
You couldn't plug your microphone in, have you?
And keep things going.
The thing is, the way about Leon, there's no big-headed.
Right, we just lost you for a second, Laurence. That's what he's going to do. We're just going to. Hello, are you there, Laurence?
I'm there.
They're brilliant.
Oh, dear me.
Modern technology, eh?
It's wonderful.
So, okay. What I'd be really interested in is how did you actually become involved in Speedway in the first place?
How did I become involved in Speedway? Well, I went to watch it to start with, liked it, and my first job was actually selling programs. And you ever heard of a man called Bill Bridget, who was the promoter at Wolverhampton and a few other tracks with Mike Parker? Taught me how to sell programs. But then I progressed on to work in the office and started doing announcing, and then went on to do many other things in the sport.
Okay, so it's fair to say you've been watching Speedway for a fair few many years then.
Just a few, yeah. I'm still a youngster, remember. Of
course. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Young at heart, yeah.
So we made a decision yesterday on our number 6 rider. So the first question to ask about that is, there's obviously this mystery rider that nobody apart from yourself and the management know who it is. Have we given up on that rider, or is that still something that we could see in the future?
That's still something that's in the background, waiting for red tape to be sorted. But naturally, Plan B had to come into force because we had to name a 7th rider to the BSBA for the team and to have somebody to use in the first few meetings.
So what can you tell us about the rider that you chose, then, Aaron Butcher?
Well, I've known Aaron for a few years now. I actually saw him ride for the first time at Derek Cooper's little track. He's got a motocross track at the other side of Coventry called the Ranch, and he put a speedway track in the car park in the winter. And that's where Aaron had his first ride on an old Morton Rezaga bike. And that's where I first met Aaron and his dad, Richard. And, gave him some rides and encouraged him. He's been in my training school, so I've worked with him. But he only came yesterday, really, to practice with the Milton Keynes Knights. But he caught our eye because he improved every time he went out.
Okay, that's all very positive stuff. And I guess that's. I mean, I was at the meeting, the forum last night, as you know, and I think the thing that came across from the meeting the most was everybody was so positive. And everybody felt like everybody was happy to be there, and the team spirit just looked really good.
It was amazing. It was evident straight away. The boys they were working in the pits together. At the team meal. As I said, it was a laugh a minute. And then I think you all saw that last night. The spirit between them already. Mm-hmm. And team spirit is something I've always tried to get going with any team I've been involved with. And it's worth points before you go out on the track.
So I'd like you to give me an answer of 1 to 10. How likely is it that we're going to get Lane Cupid to come on the mic before the end of the season?
Minus 25. He did apologise last night, I must admit. I give him his due. He sent David and I a little message after, sorry about that. So perhaps we've got to get him to do some rapping instead of talking,
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, I think Leon probably does the talking for both of them. So.
He does. Yeah. It was quite funny because at the meal, it was those two who were doing a lot of the talking at the table.
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, I've obviously know Lane from in the pits, and he is quite a chatty rider in the pits generally. So it's just the coming on the mic thing. We'll have to sort him out.
We'll work on him. I'll get him out of his shell eventually.
We'll have to get him on the show on the phone. That might do it.
Yeah,
that's a good
you
idea,
can't
then.
see anybody then. Perhaps
Yeah.
that might work.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
might try that. I might put that to him. Okay. So there are a fair few new rules across the 3 leagues, and some of them apply to the National League. Like there's the tapes rule, the way that's been doing, and I think it's 4 minutes between heats and so on. I was wondering if you could sort of go through a few of those for us.
Okay. Well, I think the one that's caught out down Bewley tonight at Swindon. I mean, I've been watching the updates from there, where interestingly, Mitchell Devey was on a paid batsman from 2, right? So I was going to see if he's doing any better now. Yeah, that new ruling is that they can't get off the bike to garden. They've got to stay on the bike. If they get off the bike,
Right.
they're excluded. So that's one new rule.
I think Alan Roster was pretty frustrated by that happening on Monday at Bellevue as well. So judging by his interview that he gave after the meeting, because he said he kept telling the riders. So
Exactly. Well, we talked about it last night when we were having the meal, and they all went, "What?" So Mitch, you've encoded what it happens. So Mitch told them, and I said, and I think it's 3 times on Monday at Bellevue riders got excluded for it.
Right. I guess they're in the habit of doing that.
well, this is it. They've got to get out the habit. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Speedway riders, once they put their helmets on, other things go out of their mind. I think, because they leave the brain in the toolbox half the time.
As I understand it, with the new starting rules, if the tapes go up and nobody's touched them, that's it. The race goes on, even whether if the referee thinks somebody might have moved or whatever. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Not completely. The referee still has the discretion to stop it if you think someone's at a real roller.
Right.
yeah,
I'm just
So that was mentioned at the. Well, there was a few referees at the team managers seminar the other week, and that was something that was brought up, and a few of them said there that naturally if someone's had a blatant roller, they are going to pull it back.
okay. Because I'm rather hoping that the way the rules are this year, that Tom Bacon isn't going to get pulled back quite as often as he did last year.
yeah.
No, I've got a piece of elastic. I've got him on.
Fantastic.
From there, yeah, and you've also got another new rule as well. The referee, if to stop the cheating element of someone falling off and getting a rerun, if the referee thinks that's happened, he can award the race after within the two laps anyway. But if he thinks that someone's done it deliberately, he can order a rerun with the exclusion of the rider who's caused the stoppage, but his partner has to start off 15 metres in the rerun.
I didn't know that.
Well, that could cause a few ructions, couldn't it?
It could, but how many times have you seen a rider deliberately stay down, get a rerun, and then his partner goes out and
seen that many
turns
times,
up what was
haven't
a 5-1 into a 3-all?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have seen that many times.
Yeah. I mean, we all know what happens.
I've often been on the phone to referees saying, "Well, why the hell, didn't you award it?"
Yeah.
You could see quite clearly that he could have got up and he wasn't.
Interesting one, that is.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's going to cause all sorts of murmurings amongst crowds and
Yes.
riders. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
And am I right that they have to turn the heats round a lot quicker now?
Yes, where there was there was a 5-minute gap between them, including the 2 minutes. It's now 4 minutes, including the 2. So you could get 2 minutes and the 2 minutes going straight on. Well, in essence, with a meeting that runs without any problems, you're therefore going to gain 15 minutes, which is great from my point of view. Is because I want to run the meetings very slickly because I want the second halves to make sure they get their full amount of rides.
Yeah.
I've been at so many tracks before where the kids are all there warming up and, oh, sorry, we've hit the curfew.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's not fair on those kids because they need track time.
okay. I wonder whether this is a fair question, but we'll give it a go anyway.
Well, I'll let you ask it then.
So we've talked about the Birmingham team and sort of the strengths of the team. What about weaknesses? Or what will be our weaknesses at the moment, would you say?
Weaknesses? We haven't got any.
How did I know you was going? It's a stupid question. Well, how did I know you was going to say that?
We've got the best 3 heat leaders in the league. We've got 2 second strings who I know I know how to work Callum, and I get on well with Lane, and Sean said to his dad yesterday, he says, the difference in him with you today has been amazing because he listened and got on with it. You know, Aaron, there's no pressure on him, and Aaron knows that. You know, any rider who I've ever team managed would always tell you, I never put pressure on a rider. I don't shout at riders. I don't go on them. You know, I think Callum summed it up yesterday that where he's had a bad meeting, he knows that he's given his best, and I will give him every encouragement. And I think that's where a team manager comes into his own, is not when they've won a race, you know, well done, mate. It's when they've had a bad race, and that's when you've got to pick them up.
Okay, and another new rule that's come in for the top, as I understand it, for the top 2 divisions, is that we're going back to the old type of tactical substitute. But it's in the National League that we haven't got any sort of tactical rules like that. Is that something you agree with, or would you like to see some tactical element?
It wasn't voted in. Personally, I quite liked it because, especially when you're well behind, you got a chance to think, well, if I do this now and I get some points out of it, you know, you can get back into the meeting. But unfortunately, a lot of them don't think the same as me, and I think it's good for the fans as well.
My last question: who's going to finish second? That's
Mildenhall,
isn't it?
That's not a very fair question, is it?
Mildenhall will finish second to us. Yeah, it'll be us and Mildenhall in the final.
Fantastic.
Which is interesting because we meet them in the KO Cup as well. So
that's going to be an interesting one.
Those are going to be hellishly good clashes. So they'll still have Drew Kemp and Matt Marston down at reserve at that stage.
Yeah. But we'll have Liam Flint at reserve as well. So.
Oh yeah, well he'll just walk them anyway. As he said yesterday, he's not frightened of anybody. He can beat anybody in this league. And that's not being big-headed.
Well,
that's just
the attitude
confidence
you need. Yeah, it's confidence.
That's
exactly. Right. Did you have something, Matt?
So when is that cup match against Mildenhall?
Yeah, what's the date of the cup match? Can you? You put him on the spot now. You do.
Sorry, Lauren.
I know it's May, and top of my head, I think it's May the 9th. I have the website on here. Mildenhall KO Cup is May the 9th at home, and away it's Sunday the 17th of June.
There you go.
That's it. That's good to know. It's one for the diary. So.
My last question, and then I'll let you get off to watching Swindon Bellevue. David Mason and his dad have come in, and from the supporter side of things, it feels very much like a breath of fresh air coming through Speedway at the moment. I was wondering whether that felt the same from your side.
Very much so. They're full of great ideas, and I've known David and Peter naturally for many, many years since David started riding. And I tried to sign him twice last year for Plymouth, but had I done, we might not have been at Birmingham then. So that's one interesting point. Yeah. But they're trying to do everything. They want to put more of an entertainment, as they say, not just 15 heats of Speedway, 15 heats of Speedway, some good second half stuff, but also attractions there. You know, we're talking to motocross people, we're talking to BMX people. I've got a girl flat tracker who's been the British champion for 2 years who wants to come and ride. She actually likes to ride Speedway as well, but that's another thing that I've got to try and sort for her. But we're looking at different attractions, so it's an entertainment night, not just 15 heats of Speedway, and I think that's a big plus for them. And I think the other thing is getting into the schools and colleges, like Lee's working hard on that. It's getting the younger generation there, because there is an age gap element if you look on the terraces.
Without a doubt, yeah. I think one wag once said that we should be sponsored by Saga. But,
and the good news is Mitchell's still on a paid maximum. He's just finished second to Adam Ellis in Heat 8.
Yeah, fantastic.
6 paid 9 so far for our skipper.
That's looking good, isn't it? It's looking good.
It's tremendous. Yeah. And tell you what, you'd be a superb skipper.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody here that will argue with that.
Well, because of the Blair final against Eastbourne.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I was hoping he was going to be part of the team last year.
Yeah.
So he's been a Brummie ever since that final, anyway, in my head. So there you go. Well, thanks, Laurence, for coming on. I've only called you Lauren once, so
that's not bad.
that's
no, anytime, mate. I'm always there to help.
That's fantastic. Thanks, and good luck on Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
You take care.
Cheers, Laurence.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers, lads. Bye.
Whoa.
Thanks for that. So Webby just gave Laurence the clap and didn't warn me, and it was like it exploded in my cans. So thanks for that.
You're saying you've never had the clap?
Ooh.
Shall we not even go there?
What is this? What is this?
Right, so
Speedway Tavern, sponsored by
shall
Synatogen.
we was talking about predictions, wasn't we? We was about to talk about predictions. I think there's only the one match to predict, and I meant to get Laurence his predictions for next week. So, Birmingham versus Coventry. Do we know who's replacing JPB for?
It's Connor Mountain, isn't it?
Connor Mountain, that was it. Yes.
Yeah. Who is decent.
He's
He
decent enough.
looked like he'd come on a time when he rode to Perry
He
Barr.
rides our track well. So what?
I do fancy a Brumbies win next week, though.
Yeah.
By about 10, I would say. I think it'll be.
I'd quite like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fairly close meeting, but
10 points doesn't sound that close.
Yeah.
I'll go for 8. Actually, I think I'll go for 8 points.
Well, it's not going to be a 60-30. That's for
no.
certain,
I mean, the other thing to talk about next week is that it's not just Speedway next week. I mean, it's going to be it's the first match in charge for the Masons.
Lawrence's first match is
first
I know
match
he's been team manager before.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole new era.
Yeah.
Things are going to be different.
Yeah, they are.
There's more Speedway for a start off, which you can't complain about.
Must have been going into the pits for the practice yesterday. It was sort of strange not hearing Graham Drury's voice booming across the pits like it has been in the past. But
yes.
I think it's fair to say Laurence is probably going to have a different sort of approach to what Graham had. So
absolutely,
that's not a criticism.
It's
Graham,
just a statement of fact.
Just the way Graham Drury was as a team manager. So, but no, it's I think as Laurence said, the enthusiasm from the Masons and Lee Kilby as well is very refreshing. I think especially in the early weeks, David's probably going to be quite reliant on Lee Kilby, but as he picks things up. But
I mean, the organisational side of things is going to be the thing that he'll have. He's admitted it himself. He's got no experience of that. So
it was interesting as well to see yesterday that there was a list in the pits of the times that each rider was going to be going out on the track, and that's something I've not seen before. Especially when they don't have anybody
well, he mentioned
in the box,
that, didn't he? Yeah, he mentioned that.
I've not seen that before. So, but that's useful when there's nobody on the microphone telling you who's out on the track. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's by the way, it's 28-20 at Swindon.
28-20.
28-20, yeah.
That's now Swindon in front.
Swindon in front by 2,
by 2 points. Interesting.
And
Mitchell Davies still on at paid maximum.
Yes, he is.
Andrew Carter says it's great to hear supporters getting more involved. Panthers versus Lakeside Sunday, can't wait. Been a long winter. Up the Panthers.
So what we need from you, Andrew, is your predictions.
Yep.
What's the score going to be? Panthers versus Lakeside.
Because I tipped Peterborough last week to win the championship. So
yes, you did.
So.
They got some good riders riding for them.
Some good riders, yeah. I mean, Scott Nichols obviously is riding for them now, so I think that's where he started there about 20 years ago. So he had a season there. I think he did before he went to Ipswich.
I'm not that old. I can't remember.
Well, you're aging well. That's,
no, I'm not.
No.
I'm actually 23. I've just had a hard life. As for Webby, he's only 11. Anyway. Yeah. That's his mental age.
Stone.
Yeah, 11 stone.
My brain cells.
I think he's at somebody who was 11 stone. So Andrew, what's your prediction? And what we'll do is next week, when you've got it wrong, we'll take the mickey out of you. That's
you're trying to lose listeners here. So.
That's the way it works. Paul Lavender said that's a brilliant rule. I'm guessing, Paul, that's the rule about if rider purposely falls off,
riders are judged to have slowed down to get the meeting to get the race stopped.
What did you think of that? That's That's a new one.
It is. It's. I think there's one or two team managers that are going to be quite upset about that during the course of the season.
So this brings a question, then, doesn't it? Because this is the only in Speedway thing again. Very often they bring rules in, and in the next season those rules have gone because somebody doesn't like what's happened or whatever. Could this be one of those?
Oh, I hope not.
Sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
It's the sort of thing. I mean, we've had this so many times. We've had some great, what I think are very, very good rules that have been sort of had a few teething problems, and rather than just iron them out, they've just thought didn't work, get rid of it.
So,
which they don't really allow rules to settle in that sense.
So here's a thought. So a rider goes down and stays. He looks up and he sees that his rider's in third place, so he's going to. I'll stay down so get a rerun. I know I'm going to be out.
Yeah.
So there's no loss for the rider that's on the floor.
Yeah.
It's a win-win situation.
Well, the loss is for his teammates if.
Well, it is now.
On a 15-metre handicap, so.
I'm just wondering whether a better system would be like, okay, you get a yellow card, which means that you're out of your next race, as well as this one.
It's a possibility.
Because I just think of the drama of it, of the starting marshal going over to awarding him, the yellow card as well. It's a bit of theatre as well. I quite like that idea actually. But at least they do. I like this idea.
You just like controversy, don't you, Gia?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Well, we all do, to be fair.
Nope.
Laurence forgot to mention that he was once the Welsh Junior Cycle Speedway champion. The old so-and-so is too modest. I didn't get that from him, that he was too modest.
Andrew Carter says, Panthers by 12.
Panthers by 12.
Scott was a Panther when he was 16. Think Glasgow will be strong this year.
Okay. This is from somebody you know quite well.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Buck. Vargana were the Swedish club of ex-Brummie Dan Forsberg. Dan was every bit as good a rider as Ove Funden and Ollie Nygren, and good enough to have been world champion, but he just didn't have the ruthless streak that the other Swedes had. He was, though, one of the best riders ever to have ridden for Birmingham and a huge favourite for the Perry Bar crowd.
And, of course, came back in 2007 on the opening night, didn't he?
Yes, yeah, he did, yeah. I went and picked him up from the airport.
That was you, was it?
Was that your 15 minutes of fame?
I picked him up, yeah.
That's the last time you came and watched the Speedway, isn't it?
I think they closed the airport the year after. Coventry Airport's picking up. It's not there anymore, no?
Right, okay.
Come on the wall, says David Edwards.
Well, we'll just ignore that.
Oh dear, mate.
So what's Wolves' first match?
It's the Easter Monday meeting, the double header against Bellevue in the Cup. We're there in the morning and then come back to Monmore Green for the second leg in the evening, unless we're under 2 foot of snow again.
Well, there is that prediction, isn't there? We might all watch Easter. Bellevue look quite strong, I thought. Although Swindon are
they don't look strong tonight, I tell you.
Proving stronger. Give us some of the scores, actually.
Well, it's now 38-22 to Swindon, so Swindon's starting to run away with that one. Damien Drodds has been withdrawn from after 2 rides due to a fallen exclusion. So I think that's probably weakened Bellevue.
It's not going to strengthen them, is it?
Craig Cook's unbeaten, 2 races, 2 wins. Steve Worrell 3 from 3. Rowan Tungate, who got a bit of criticism, I thought was a bit unwarranted for his performance on Monday, not finishing a race. He's looked a lot better tonight. He's got 6 from 3. Max Frick 4 from 3. Jay Etheridge 1 from 3, and Dan Bewley 1 point from 4 rides.
That's interesting. I mean, big year for Dan Bewley.
It is, because he made such a lot of progress last year, didn't he? So there's not the surprise factor with him now with the top riders.
Yeah.
So, but I think Swindon are going to be strong at home. So
I might change my mind about who I was going to. I thought Bellevue would beat Swindon, I must admit, but
I don't think Bellevue look quite as strong as they have done the last couple of seasons. But I think they're still going to be in the shake-up at the end of the season.
It was great to see that race between Mitchell Davey.
I was wondering whether you were going to put them on tonight. So
I don't know. Well, we'll have a word with the.
We'll have a word with the director.
He's not listening at the moment. So.
Right.
Yes, you will be. Right, so Yeah, so who's going to win between Wolves and Bellevue? Then we might as well go there.
I can't see us winning over Bellevue, to be honest.
Okay.
We don't have a particularly good record up there since they
Yeah.
moved to that track, but I think we'd have the beating of them at home. Of course, it's a cup match and a repeat of last season's final. But I think you'd probably have to say, unfortunately, over the course of the two matches, Bellevue would probably be slight favourites. Don't know whether we're going to be able to get it close enough to them up there to defend a lead for the second meeting. So,
Right, what I think we'll do next is
well, that was a bit of a downer, wasn't
Webby,
it?
yeah, Webby, if you can get us the fixture list for the next week.
Should say as well.
The BSPA side.
Yeah, I should say as well. I wasn't at the Wolves forum on Wednesday, but I've spoken to a couple of people who were there, and pleased to say that Chris Van Stratton looks, very, very well after his surgery in the winter. So, and I think, in fact, Peter Evans has been quoted as saying he's looked better than he has done for years.
Right.
So that's
Well, yeah. I mean,
great to
everybody's
hear that.
very
So
worried about
everybody
him.
yeah, that's it. So he's had with last year, it was a tough year to go through last year with all that going on behind the scenes as well. So, but thankfully, Chris is hopefully fully recovered and can look forward to his 33rd season. I think
if
it
Chris
is.
is by any chance listening, good on you, mate.
Yep.
Looking forward to maybe us being in the same division soon, so we can beat you.
You never know.
Hello.
It won't be the same without Freddie at the Wolves, says David Edwards.
No, it won't be.
No.
I think the decision was a lot of it was probably finance related. Without being disrespectful to Jakob, I think.
Do you think that might be the same thing with the Jason Doyle situation as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to be fair, I mean, CVS and Peter Evans both said that Freddie was never excessive with his demands, but I suppose at the end of the day there was a bit of doubt over the TV deal. So I think Freddie wanted to come back. I think Freddie missed that one season in the Elite League in 2014, I think it was, and he said he hindered him. I think he felt that he was sharper riding in the UK. So I think he'd wanted to have come back, especially after having such a good season last year.
He had a great season.
It was his best season, I think. Just a shame that it ended on a downer with such a serious injury.
Yeah.
But
did that play a part as well? Do you think?
I don't know about that. I think at the end of the day, it's unfortunate that injuries happen in Speedway. We don't like to see them happen, but no. I mean, as I say, probably of the two, I think Freddie would have been the better option because of his experience and his fact that he's of a better quality, particularly on the away tracks. But they made the choice to go with Jakob. So,
well, it's going to be interesting to see how that all sort of pans out. Really.
Well, I think Jakob will hold his way at home, but it's just the away. That's why I'm got my doubts over our chances of doing well this season with our possibly not going to be able to do as much on the road.
So, okay, we've got the fixtures list up. Bellevue versus Swindon. It looks like that's going to go to Swindon by the looks of it.
Yep.
Then we've got the Lee Richardson Spring Classic at Lakeside. I'm not entirely sure who's right.
I'm not sure of the line about that one.
It's a great meeting, though, isn't it? It's a member of Lee Richardson, as we all do. Paul, I've got the 70th anniversary celebration. So that's another individual meeting that they've got on the 23rd, which is tomorrow, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Glasgow versus
then the Scottish Derby,
Edinburgh, Scottish Cup. That's going to be a good match, I think. Actually,
I said Glasgow looking strong again.
Yes, although they've just lost JPB, of
course, yep.
And somebody did ask me what I knew about his replacements, and the truth is I don't know an awful lot, so I can't give you an answer on that one. And then Bellevue got the 90th anniversary celebration. Just to outdo Paul, I think. You got your 70th, we've got our 90th.
Well,
because it's 90 years of speed.
Without being too picky, I think. Bellevue is genuinely 90 because they've never stopped. Paul have had spells where they've not been running. So, Birmingham doing 90th anniversary meeting? Because
the question
I know
was
it's not 90 continuous years. I know that, but
yeah, the question was asked yesterday whether there was going to be, and it wasn't ruled out.
yeah.
But I think what I said was that we intend to be in every competition all the way to the end, so we might not have enough time to do it. So
It would be nice to have that, I think, as well. So you bring some of the old favourites back to
it would be nice.
Pride and Round Perry Bar again. So
I think we will be seeing some of the old favourites
Yeah.
from what I was saying actually as well. There's lots and lots of different individual meetings coming. Peaceborn have got their Memorial Cup. The 25th, Sheffield have got the Simon Stead Farewell, which I hope that's.
I hope so. Yeah, been a good, obviously been a good servant to not just to Sheffield, but to British Speedway in general. So
And then the Peterborough versus Lakeside meeting we've already mentioned, and Leicester versus Somerset. Coming all the way then to Birmingham versus Coventry on Wednesday.
that's
So
it.
those are the meetings that we've got in front.
So just looking further ahead there, that meeting next Thursday at Swindon should be a belter, shouldn't it? Swindon against Leicester, because Leicester looking a lot.
Leicester they've got a
They
very good
look-
team they've put together this year, and I think they needed to. Because
They needed to, yeah. So
you can't keep having the wooden spoon, can you? And keep your supporters, surely.
that's right.
So,
But no, that would be a decent meeting to watch, I think. So 41-25 is the score now at Swindon.
where they've really
By the way, Swindon have really
kicked
run
on.
away with it, haven't they?
They've really
So
kicked on. Has Mitchell Davies still? How many rides has he had now?
3 rides, 3 paid wins.
3 rides, 3 paid wins. That's not a bad pointer for us for next week. So yes,
There's a great comment just come in
Mhm.
from Alan Hodgkinson.
Hutchinson.
I wish they would make helmet colours more prominent. It would help newcomers follow a meeting. To most people watching for the first time, it's just 4 bikes going round and round. You tell them what the helmet colours mean, but they can't see them clearly, so can't follow.
I wonder whether the helmet, the whole helmet, should actually be the colour, not just the
Have a red.
have a red helmet. I know because some riders have had that, haven't they? So
Well, Nicky Pedersen famously just picks up a helmet, but
Yeah.
he's a Grand Prix rider at National League level.
Yeah.
Is that necessarily? I tell you what I saw once, and whether that would be a good idea. Not only do they have the colour on the helmet, they had a thing that covered the whole of their arm on the outside.
yeah.
So you have a red arm and a blue
Yeah.
arm and a yellow and black arm.
Yeah,
and
I think that's a great idea.
That might not be, because the expense for the riders to have to buy 4 helmets. And not cheap things, those things.
Well, that's it. Well, they can't be cheap, can they? Because at the end of the day,
They're
they can save
protecting
your
their
life.
head,
So
yeah, exactly. But just something that goes on their sleeve, that would probably work.
yeah,
Cover their sponsors, and they wouldn't be happy about it. But
double-edged sword, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they all want sponsors. So
or different bike coloured covers.
Yeah.
But then they put the sponsors on theirs as well,
Mhm.
don't they? So.
Yeah.
It's a fair point, though.
yeah.
It's a good point, though.
absolutely
Yeah,
fair point.
David Edwards says it's going to be a tough season in the Premiership League.
I think he's right.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
it is.
It's going to be an interesting one. I can't even remember who I predicted was going to win last week.
I think you went for Poole, same as me.
Yeah, I might have done.
You're probably wrong anyway in your predictions. So.
Yeah, I think I did go. Well, I'm always wrong. That's why I picked Paul, of course.
Nothing to do with revenge, is it? Or
Duncan has said maybe they should wear team suits.
But that doesn't help. Well, it does to an extent. I don't like team suits, but let's not get into that argument once again.
I can understand why they have team suits, because they obviously want them to look like a team.
Yeah. Also,
But
I
I
think from the
suppose-
point of marketing, it's got
Yeah.
a value, hasn't it?
Well,
So-
having said that, it was easier to recognise riders when they had their own individual leathers. So
but maybe not for a newcomer.
not for a not necessarily for a
not for a
newcomer,
newcomer at
but
Yeah. For a newcomer, which seems a bit strange. Like it's a team sport, but they're not wearing team colours.
Well, it is strange. It's a very. We sometimes look at the differences between speedway and other sports and see it as something that we should be ashamed of. Whereas I think actually they're what advertising industry call a unique selling point,
yeah,
and you should look at it that way. For instance, this is the only true team sport that is a motorsport.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other one that, somebody will come out of the woodwork and say F1. Nobody follows McLaren. They follow Lewis Hamilton.
Well, that's right. So
Whoever he's riding with this year, I can't remember.
driving, you mean? So
And that as well. And who is in Formula One? Since we're talking about it, who is a driver's biggest rival?
his teammate.
His teammate.
That's the first one he's got to beat, isn't
Yes,
it? So,
absolutely, because it's the only person that's in exactly the same equipment as he is.
especially when you got a team where both drivers are going for the championship. So
it's not really a true team sport in that sense. And as I would say,
or when one has to keep moving out the way to let the other one win, as has happened many times over the years.
yeah, that's that just feels wrong. So this is so it is unique, and there are a lot of things about it. We say it only in Speedway, and I usually say it, mildly derogatory fashion, but it's not necessarily derogatory. It can also be a positive thing. We have got unique things that are unique to this sport. So
apparently, the Americans wear the arm colour.
do they?
They do, yeah, but they don't really have team racing there, do they? So
So well, it still helps you identify the riders, doesn't
Yeah.
it? So that would be that I wouldn't be averse to that. I think that'd be quite good, and would anything that adds a bit of colour to the thing anyway.
Of course,
is good.
Yeah.
So, right, well, we've got a couple of minutes to go. Let's have a look at the scores on the doors. I think Swindon have got this now.
yeah,
haven't
43-29. It's now 85-77 on aggregate, and Craig Cook has lost his unbeaten record in heat number 11. He's been beaten by Tobias Muslek and Steve Worrell.
they? It's not a bad
Well,
start, though,
so-
is it?
No.
He's not had a bad
Tobias
start.
Muslek, I have to say, he has come on in leaps and bounds since he went to Swindon. I mean, he's sort of flattered to deceive a little bit when we had him, but he's really matured as a rider since he's gone to Swindon.
We seem to have got a lot of chat about the colours.
Yeah.
I think it's a good subject, actually.
Duncan Pemberton says maybe team suit with rider's name or racing number down a different.
Well, they've done that in the Grand
right
Prix
arm.
now. They've done that now in the Grand Prix, haven't they? Where each rider has got a designated number
yeah.
for over the course.
I don't think that's something that helps the newcomer, which is
No, I don't think it does. To be honest. I preferred
it
it when their number was based on the position they finished in the championship the year before. But maybe I'm a traditionalist like that.
Well, I think from a rider's marketing, that they've done that from a rider's marketing
Yeah.
point of view, haven't they? So that they're always.
I don't think they
associated
have
with
to
that
do
number.
it. I think they can choose. I don't think because Nicky Pedersen always chooses the position he finished in the championship the year before, I believe. So
Right. If it's available.
yeah,
And David Edwards said, I would like to see the Wolves win this season.
he's had a match or the championship.
Win
Win a I don't think we're that bad. So come on, come on, David.
Well, you always start the season sort of, I don't think we're going to do very well.
Yeah,
You always do.
and then we chill on the floor at the end of the season.
It's
and lose the
quite
title by points.
funny because as Brummies, you'll know this because you commented on this. As Brummies, we tend to be not big ourselves up.
No.
So a Birmingham City.
We're miserable
fan-
gits, really.
Yeah, probably is that. So
You said that, not me.
You don't go. Oh, yeah, we're going to win the league. But as a Birmingham Speedway fan, 9 times out of 10, we turn up at the season and think, yeah, we're going to win this, aren't we? So we're just sort of. Anyway, well, we've come to the end of another show. Thank you very much. Thanks again to Laurence. Good luck, Wolverhampton, with your present practice. Good luck to all the lads, and especially Leon. Looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday, and I want a big celebration when you get your first 3 points. Good luck, everybody, with your different teams, and let's have no injuries this week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night.